up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Bodacious Rant with your ever so awesome and handsome host, Burn Rye. Hope everyone's having a great weekend. Now we're kicking off summer the right way, and by the right way, I do mean Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. It's funny, this was one of the Marvel movies I was a little worried about, just because Marvel's been kind of very up and down the last few years, ever since at least No Way Home, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. I am delighted to say that this is up there with some of the greats, in all honesty. And this is a non-spoiler review, as always, guys, because we do want you all to see it. So do not forget to give us a like, ring the bell, and please subscribe. We do appreciate you all and want you to keep joining us on this journey of reviews and enjoyment and entertainment and all that such. This one takes place after, Endgame and actually the Guardians Christmas special. In my opinion, I think that is definitely necessary to watch because it'll kind of fill in some of the gaps.
Required viewing, I would say.
Okay, yeah, definitely required from Burn. Just because even if you watch all the movies but you haven't seen that special, it's only 30-40 minutes, so...
No, it's not long.
No, it's not long. It's actually a delightful watch, so I definitely recommend checking that out. But anyways, this story takes place where the Guardians are kind of in a weird situation. They're kind of at their high, and but this one is great because it explores Rocket's origins as well as discovering a new villain known as the High Evolutionary, played by how do you say his name again, Bern?
Chukwudi Iwuji from Peacemaker, the series that James Gunn wrote and directed most of the episodes for. He was great in that, and he's here as the villain in this one.
Yes, thank you. And we see also some other new characters like Adam Warlock, played by Will Poulter, and that's actually the High Evolution and Will Poulter are usually the two biggest ones for this movie, without spoiling too much. So that's all I could say. It for those of you who are maybe, how do I say this? I would honestly bring a box of tissues for this movie. And just prepare yourself for an epic ending with the Guardians. It was so good. I desperately want to see it again. Hopefully in IMAX, but if not, it's no big deal. I could always see Dolby or just regular, because it's one of those movies that I could care less. As long as I get to see it on the big screen and enjoy it. It was so good. The cast, I think everyone knew that this is definitely... actually, you know what? I can't say anymore. They knocked it all out of the park. That's all I'm going to say. Especially Bradley Cooper as Rocket Raccoon. So good. He's definitely my favorite Guardian, has been since day one. Bern, what did you think of this movie?
I mean, what a movie. I think James Gunn has quickly become, in the last few years, one of the few, filmmakers that I can walk into a movie and know I'm going to have a really good time. Just everything from the humor to the heart to the music to the action, it's all working he's firing on all cylinders. And like you mentioned, it seemed like all the actors involved here definitely felt like there was some sort of finality to this, because it is, in a way, it's the end of an era. I mean, James Gunn this is his last movie with these characters in Marvel, at least for the foreseeable future, because he's moving on to head over DC Studios and seeing that ship through and getting that lifted up. So he won't be playing in the Marvel Galaxy, at least for a while. So this is, in a way, a goodbye for him and his version of these characters and this team in this iteration. So coming into it, there's going to be a lot of feels involved when it comes to that, and he absolutely nails it in that sense. The balance between heartbreaking moments and humor here, it feels so well put together. I know maybe for some people there might be some tonal issues. I have seen that complaint, here and there, seeing that, the darkness of this movie, because this movie does get pretty dark, that the darkness and the humor didn't feel like it balanced for them. But for me, it worked. It really worked. Everything fed into itself, like the heartbreaking moments made the humor hit harder, and the humor made those moments really just get to you. And I do feel like there should be at least a little bit of a trigger warning, for some people in this movie, because for anyone sensitive to any sort of animal, abuse or cruelty, this is a little bit of a rough time. So I don't think the trailers really give too much of an indication of that, but I will say, people you should walk into this one a little bit, with your guard up, because there are certain certain aspects of this that are really really upsetting. I will say, and James Gunn doesn't pull any punches. And I'm surprised that this is a PG-13 movie. I don't know how you felt about that because I mean this movie, yeah, like I said, it feels like a very hard PG-13 when it comes to certain things.
No, I think the rating is fitting for it, but definitely some of the elements involved, like you said, the animal cruelty and just the emotionality of it, it almost played into the R rating, or at least NC-17, because, yeah, I think James is up there with, like, the Russo brothers as one of the best directors in the MCU, and I would still say Taika as well, even though Thor Love and Thunder kind of sucked. But they're definitely up there with how well these movies were. These are like the standards of what Marvel should be hitting, and Ryan Coogler too. But that doesn't matter. I'm getting sidetracked. But yeah, this is definitely the darkest and actually most serious one, despite all the comedy
Yeah.
inside of it. Um, and again, I'm not gonna lie, I'm not quite ashamed to say it either. I was definitely pretty emotional. Definitely
Oh
several
yeah.
scenes triggered my tear ducts, man. I was just like wiping them away as these scenes went on because I'm like, this is so horrible to watch, but it's so good because, again, you explore not only just Rocket but some of these other characters and like through dialogue and some of the things they talk about. So, um, having said all that, I am gonna give it a 5 out of 5. I know I've been a little gracious with those. I'm not gonna lie, but it's been a great few months of movies, and I know Bern and I were talking about when we left the theater, but I hate to say it, it may beat out John Wick as my number one right now. It's tied with that so many different reasons, but this is the best one of the Guardians in my opinion. I can't wait for everyone to see it, and yeah, I just like I said, I can't praise it enough. This is the best MCU movie we've had in a good few years.
I mean, yeah, I say that for sure. I mean, this trilogy, and I'll even say like this is probably one of the best, if not the best trilogy that we've gotten within the MCU. At least the most consistent. James Gunn has written and directed every single one of these, and you feel that sort of consistent through line through all of them. We've had other trilogies in the MCU in the past, and good ones too. Like Spider-Man, Captain America. The Avengers movies, if you consider those their own thing. But this one, it feels like there's like a singular vision here. And it very much feels like its own corner of the Marvel universe, and I think it's one that's really well fleshed out and one that I really enjoy. Like I feel like very connected to these characters, and I'm so invested in their arcs and in terms of like finality. These characters do go through their arcs, and I feel like those have been paid off from the first Guardians and now into the last one. So I mean, I couldn't have asked for anything more there. And Chukwudi Iwuji as the villain, one of those characters that really makes you hate them. For like for all the shit that we've given Marvel for their weak one note villains. It feels like here, he doesn't have too much dimension to him, but the thing that he does best is give you a performance and give you a character that you really want to root against, and you want these characters to come up and beat essentially by the end of the movie, hopefully. But yeah, I mean, what more can I say? The visual effects, I think, also are also probably the best that we've seen probably since Endgame. I mean, the visual effects. I rewatched the other two Guardians movies here, in the lead up to three, and I think they do definitely have some of the best visuals in the MCU. And here, with everything with Rocket and stuff, it's all really good, and that character, that CGI character, is great. And Bradley Cooper, man, what a performance that he's been giving in these last few movies, but especially here, like you said, this is kind of like his movie in a way, and yeah, I mean, I can't praise the movie anymore. I would say the one element that doesn't work for me as much as everything else is probably Will Poulter's Adam Warlock. That's sorry, I forgot the name for a second there, but yeah, it almost felt like a holdover from the last movie. I mean, they definitely set him up at the end of the second movie, and it felt like in between that time, sort of plans for the original Guardians movie, Guardians 3 movie, sort of changed, but James probably felt obligated to pay that off since it was set up. So him in the story just is kind of like there almost, but I think the performance itself and the way he's used, even sparingly, is pretty fun at the end of the day. So maybe we'll see more of his character, maybe not. I don't know, but if we do, I wouldn't mind it. Having said all that, this was a tough rating because I would have to agree. This is probably like emotionally, I would give this a 5. Probably it's more of a 4 out of 5. But right now, it like in terms of just like how it makes me feel and stuff. Like this is definitely like a 5 out of 5 from me personally, with all the taste, even with the negatives. And it's my favorite movie of the year so far.
Yeah, the Adam Warlock thing I know is a very hit and miss thing with people, but I'm gonna say if James Gunn had to end it, I'm glad he ended it with the OG Guardian suits, or at least the 2014 version where they came out with the comics. Not 2014, but like 2000 teens, they came out with those new suits, those looks for those characters. So they looked amazing, and I can't wait for everyone to see it. So for those of you who did happen to catch it this last weekend, let us know what you all thought of it. Did you absolutely love it? Did you get emotional by it? Or is it just another tick on the MCU's chart? Like, okay, they got it done. What's next, kind of thing. We'd love to know what you all think. And again, stay tuned. We got a bunch more movies coming out in May. It's actually going to be a really stacked month. So stay tuned for that. And until next time, stay bodacious and keep on ranting for the both of us.
Absolutely, everybody. Be good, be safe, and as always, we'll catch y'all on the next one.